I review you. This is my partner, Mr. Id. Patreon request today, the Good Bad Flicks video on Hocus Pocus.
Even though it was written as a family film, it still had a dark edge to it. Tone-wise, they want to keep it in line with Grimm's fairy tales, like Hansel and Gretel, where it's this light and charming story about a witch who bakes children in an oven.
Light and charming? You do realize how effed up the original Grimm's fairy tales were, right?
Kirshner took the screenplay to Disney with a unique pitch. He had a meeting with the chairman of Walt Disney Studios, Jeffrey Katzenberg. Kirshner asked to go into the meeting room a half hour early, where he covered the conference table with 25 pounds of candy corn.
I tried that in a meeting once.
Candy corn!
Not everyone appreciates candy corn.
Kirshner and Garris took the script to Steven Spielberg in the hopes that he would direct. He passed on the idea because at the time, he viewed Disney as a direct competitor to his company, Amblin Entertainment.
Man, turning down E.T. continues to be the worst decision Disney could have made at the time.
Around that time, director Kenny Ortega was finishing his work on the musical drama Newsies for Disney.
Considering both Newsies and Hocus Pocus flopped, it's kind of amazing they brought him back for High School Musical.
He did the choreography for Xanadu, Dirty Dancing, and Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He was also a longtime friend and choreographer of Michael Jackson.
Okay, that explains why the dancing is some of the best stuff in his movies.
Ortega didn't want the film to be a musical, but wanted to have at least one musical number in it.
Can you imagine how amazingly insane this movie would have been if it was a musical?
While it wasn't as dark as the original script, it still was something darker than you would expect from Disney in the 1990s.
Not really. I mean, sure, it had some more adult elements, but it wasn't really darker than anything else Disney was putting out.
When Sarah Jessica Parker was doing research for her role, she decided to look into her ancestry. As it turned out, her 10th great-grandmother, Esther Elwell, was arrested for witchcraft in 1692.
I call BS. There's no way she weighed less than a duck.
They designed the sisters to be like the female Three Stooges. They beat each other up and called themselves names. Everyone was really happy about this because at the time, it was something that wasn't very common with female comedies.
Still isn't.
Things were moving along when DiCaprio turned down the role to do another film, What's Eating Gilbert Grape. This ended up being a smart decision for DiCaprio since it netted him his first Oscar nomination.
And it would be literal decades before winning one.
This wasn't just a set. This was a house you could live in.
Not to devalue the efforts of the set designers, but why? Unless they were fully capable of filming inside said house, it seems kind of pointless.
Doug Jones was hired to play the corpse of Billy Butcherson. This was a big deal for Jones because it was the first movie where he played more than just a background character.
Not much more than a background character, but still.
When designing his look, they told him he was going to be a zombie that wasn't scary, but rather one you could date.
Your thoughts?
They were shooting in November and had to take down Christmas decorations to replace them with Halloween decorations for the shoot.
Save Christmas for December!
As they got closer to filming the finale, something felt off.
I have no idea if that editing was an intentional pun.
This was one of two Halloween-themed films they had lined up for release in 1993. The other was The Nightmare Before Christmas.
And yet chose to release it under Touchstone.
Since Burton just had a series of successful movies, they marketed The Nightmare Before Christmas as Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas to capitalize on his successes, which led to a lot of people thinking he directed it.
I mean, while Henry Selick was the director, it was Tim Burton's project in many ways.
Since The Nightmare Before Christmas was an easier sell, they decided to release it in October. They didn't want to have two Halloween movies directly competing, so they released Hocus Pocus in July.
And yet still not the worst release plan for a Disney movie. Seriously guys, what made you think Winnie the Pooh stood a chance against the last Harry Potter?
The band Roxette was hired to write the theme song for Hocus Pocus, which they called Almost Unreal. It didn't fit in with the soundtrack, so the studio passed on it. The song made its way to another subdivision at Disney, Hollywood Productions, who used the song in the soundtrack for Super Mario Bros.
If that song's not in the new Super Mario Bros. Movie, we riot! What, it wouldn't be the weirdest thing in the movie?
Later in the film, the kids trapped the witches in an incinerator for crying out loud.
Yeah, but it was played for laughs, not unlike this Looney Tunes gag.
Well, would I throw a lighted match in there if my friend was in there?
Also, something that was in the script, what was only implied in the movie, was Binks' ability to talk. When he's cursed, he can only make cat noises, which is why he wasn't able to communicate with his parents. Once Max lights the black candle, he's able to talk to only them.
Is that why? Man, they did not make that clear.
In 2018, at the convention, Midsummer Scream, David Kirshner had a Q&A where he spoke about how disappointed he was when Disney dropped a Halloween film in the middle of summer.
He said at a Halloween convention at the tail end of July.
Now that is irony!
It's also immensely quotable.
Oh, look. Another glorious morning. Makes me sick.
And he's a virgin.
Oh yeah, that's the line that gets quoted a lot. Not...
Uh-oh. Sisters, did you hear what he called you?
Or...
You buck-toothed, hop-riding firefly from hell!
And let's not forget...
Hello, sailor! My name's Wilfred! What's yours?
I have mixed feelings about this. While I'm happy to have a sequel over a remake, I still don't think they'll be able to recapture the magic of the original.
Well, always remember, even if the sequel sucks, you always have the original to go back to.
This video was pretty interesting. Really just an in-depth behind-the-scenes look at the movie's history and production. But a fascinating one and well presented. If you're a fan of Hocus Pocus and want to learn more about how it was made, I say check it out.
I'm a reviewer. You review it, I review you.
Come on, Mistus, it wasn't that bad.
Wasn't that bad? Wasn't that bad? Reviewer, the house almost blew up with everyone inside it. How was that not that bad? Me, 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 me. Look, I'm gonna be in more meetings with the council for the next few weeks, and
Still? Mistus, do you even want to be Grand Councilwoman?
honestly, I don't know. I mean, I do feel like I have a certain level of responsibility to uphold, but at the same time, it'll mean I can't do the job I actually care about. Speaking of, I took the liberty of hiring a bodyguard for you two.
Mistus, we do not need a bodyguard. We've been training really hard lately. Said training has left me unable to do much else, but still.
Regardless of if you think you need it, I've already hired her. Besides, if nothing else, it'll make me feel better about leaving you.
Fine. Making sure we're safe is your job, after all.
Good. Reviewer, allow me to introduce Knila.
Good day, sirs.
Knila, these two are the ones you are charged with protecting.
These two? There appears to be some miscommunication. I was informed that I would be defending a lovely lady. I'm afraid I must decline your offer of employment.
Wait! Acromenti! What the heck was that for?
Oh my! Forgive me, milady, I did not realize your male form was a guise for such enchanting beauty.
Beg pardon?
I would be honored to lay my life on the line for such a fair maiden.
Oh, you think... No, I'm not... Ahem.
Oh, brave knight. Your service is most appreciated.
Say, would you mind giving the castle grounds a sweep?
But of course, milady.
She better be a damn good bodyguard, otherwise you're gonna need one. Don't worry about that. Knila is an incredibly skilled fighter. She's proficient with every weapon known to man. And I think a few known only to dolphins. I gotta get going. Try not to get into too much trouble. M'lady.
I'm gonna kill her! Ma, 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 ma. Me. Ma, 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 ma.
Have at thee, giant fiend.
Knila, no! Amber's a friend! Amber's a friend!